Welcome back, everyone, to another inspiring episode of the Way Up podcast, where we explore stories of resilience, growth, and success. I'm your host, Geoff Knoll, and today we have a truly remarkable guest joining us. I'm thrilled to be joined by Amanda Hyde, nurse practitioner and the visionary founder of the Crafted Clinic. Nestled in the heart of Marshfield, Missouri, the Crafted Clinic isn't just your average medical aesthetics and wellness center. It's a beacon of transformation where artistry meets science to enhance lives in profound ways. In this episode, Amanda graciously invites us into her world, sharing the passion and purpose behind the Crafted Clinic. From innovative products to personalized services, Amanda and her team are dedicated not only to enhancing outer beauty, but also nurturing inner well-being. But beyond services offered, Amanda delves into the journey that led her to this fulfilling path. Through her own experiences and challenges, she discovered a calling rooted in compassion and creativity, ultimately culminating the founding of the Crafted Clinic. Join us as we embark on a journey of empowerment and enlightenment, learning from Amanda's wisdom. Get ready to be inspired as we uncover the profound impact of enhancing lives one client at a time. If you do try out the Crafted Clinic, please let them know that you heard about them on this podcast. Thank you for joining me today, Amanda. How are you?
Yeah, of course, I'm doing well, doing great. I'm excited to be here and kind of talk about all the opportunities that have come about because of the Crafted Clinic.
Yeah, well, I want you to start your story before the Crafted Clinic.
Sure.
Tell a little bit about your upbringing, what led you to want to start your own business and get into the entrepreneurial mindset. What got you there?
Sure. So going way back, my mom was a nurse. I'm the oldest of four daughters. I never wanted to be a nurse. I always would hear the stories my mom would tell, and I'm like, nope, that is not for me. I wanted to be a news anchor, honest enough. Went into college, ended up in nursing school. So I started my career as an ICU nurse, loved that. I recovered open hearts, saw really acute sick patients for a really long time. I did that for almost 10 years. Moved on to a different hospital where we were surrounded by and utilized a lot of nurse practitioners. I then, kind of have this mindset where teach me how to do that. I can do that. And I remember coming home to my husband now and, him saying, you can do that. Let's find some schools that are going to work for you. And next thing I know, he had a folder full of options of schools available for me to go to. So started nurse practitioner school, finished that and worked family practice for almost 7 years and saw a lot of just local patients from our small town. Loved that job. We ended up having a baby after quite a big infertility struggle. And I stayed home with her for a little bit after having the baby. When it was time to go back to work, I wasn't sure quite where I wanted to go. The Botox and aesthetics industry world always kind of interested me, but I'm practical minded. I'm not a fussy, overdone girl. It wasn't really services that I was getting a whole lot because I was intimidated by a lot of the places where you could go, like in Springfield or the bigger cities. And so I kind of thought, maybe this is something I could do and make a little more normal and make it more available to just the small town people that, aren't open to this kind of thing. And I started it just on the side, working. I remember being excited when the phone would ring. Oh my gosh, I have a possible client, And from there, it really just grew and grew and grew. We have added so many new services. Patients would come in and they're like, hey, do you do this? And I'm like, well, no, we don't, but we can, let's figure it out. And so we've continued to just add services. I've got, 3 basically full-time staff members now, and we see patients, over 40 hours a week. We are constantly trying to figure out what's next and kind of keep up with what our patients need while maintaining a very relatable, very kind of holistic approach with normal people that care about their well-being. So it's been really exciting to watch it grow. It definitely was something that I couldn't have done without the support of my husband. And the story kind of goes back as far as how we were able to make it all work. But the business is really, I would say booming. We have a full schedule. We're booked out, and we're only on the horizon to continue to grow. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
been
great.
really exciting.
That's awesome. So what connected the two of us was you part of what you guys do in your clinic is the hormone replacement therapy.
Right?
And I'm doing some testosterone boost because my levels were lower than they should be. So trying to optimize. Would you kind of talk a little bit about that? Because that's a really interesting thing that maybe some people don't even know about.
It is. It's one of those things that, and coming from the family practice world, I would see patients all the time, and they would be 35 to say 55 years old on average. This affects all people, but they would come into my office and they'd say, Amanda, I just don't feel good. I'm gaining weight. I just feel so tired. I'm irritable. My libido is decreasing. I just feel like something's wrong. It's got to be my thyroid. Find a reason for me to feel this way is what they would want ultimately. In that setting, when we're running insurance and we're dependent upon those things, we're not testing what we truly need to test. And so we would run some labs and they would come back normal in the clinical setting, but they weren't optimized. So by doing this form of hormone replacement therapy, we are able to not only get your level in the normal range, but get it at the top of the normal range, because there are so many studies that have proven men and women both feel best when their hormone levels are at in a certain range. And we've seen it. I've had patients come in, we started this service a few months ago, and it almost makes me emotional because of how well it works and how these patients are coming back and they're like, you've saved my life. I feel like a different person. I get up now, I'm motivated. I'm checking things off my list. My relationship with my spouse is better. I feel more energy. I'm losing weight. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in my spouse. I've seen it in family members. My patients, we do a assessment kind of checklist to get a good idea of where you're sitting before you start. And a lot of them are checking moderate to severe on trouble sleeping and all these things that I've talked about. They're coming back for their post-pellet labs 4 to 6 weeks later, and most of them have moved to none or mild on the scale to check mark their list of side effects. And so when I say, like, are you serious? You're really feeling this good? And they're like, yes, I feel incredible. We had a lady yesterday and she's like, I am basically running around town just telling everyone to come see you. She said, this has changed my life. I feel like, I could feel like myself again. And so we know it's not only how you feel, but clinically, from a health perspective, when your hormones are optimized, it's very neuroprotective for you to have a higher testosterone level. So for women, especially who are at a greater risk for dementia, a lot of that is linked to the fact that our testosterone is so low. We start losing it in our 20s and it continues to decline. And therefore, we're at a higher risk to develop that disease. By keeping our level optimized, our risk decreases drastically. So, for me, watching my grandmother suffer with that, it just made sense that, hey, if I can do anything to feel better, to be healthier, to possibly avoid these chronic illnesses, I'm going to do it. So it's unfortunately a part of healthcare that's kind of missing, because a lot of times insurance doesn't cover it unless it's like drastically low. And a lot of times they only cover injectables or topicals. And we know those aren't the best option for our patients. Those are a lot of times, synthetic options that aren't as safe, and they're kind of a pain. Whereas the pellets are once every 4 to 6 months on average. So it's a lot less, time intensive. But it's been a really exciting add to our office. We do a lot of prescription weight loss, We see patients from all over Missouri and even other states.
Are you guys doing like the Ozempic, or is that the weight loss that you're doing
Yeah,
for people?
right. So we're doing Yes, the semaglutide and tirzepatide, which are the main ingredients of Ozempic or Mounjaro. We're
Are
doing
those safe?
Yeah, they are. So these are medications that have been in production for a very long time, were originally developed to treat diabetes. They're still used to help treat diabetes, but what they found was that essentially they only lower blood sugar when they need to. So they're safe for patients to take that aren't diabetic. Haley's the other nurse practitioner that works with me. We both come from a pretty extensive family practice background, where we prescribe these medications all the time for our diabetic patients. They would lose weight. We would say, hey, we're going to put you on this because your hemoglobin A1C is really high, but you're probably going to lose 30 or 40 pounds. But in 2017, FDA approved Ozempic under the brand name Wegovy for weight loss only in non-diabetic patients. So pharmacies have kind of picked up on that. A lot of times insurance won't cover it unless you're actually diabetic. So we're able to kind of go around that by getting compounded versions, which are just mixed with other items. They're either mixed with usually B12 or levocarnitine, which is kind of an amino acid that helps your body burn fat a little bit better. So we're able to get the non-name brand version, kind of just a generic, so to say, version, and prescribe these from our office at a more affordable price for our patients. So we've got, I mean, over 1,200 active weight loss patients, right currently. And I think last year I quit counting, honestly, but they'd lost over 20,000 pounds in the last year.
Holy
Just
majoli.
from
The Way Up podcast is proudly brought to you by my real estate team, the Noble Team eXp Realty. We're redefining industry standards in the markets we operate. Distinguishing ourselves from the crowd, we leverage our uniqueness to gain a strategic edge, all while elevating not only ourselves, but also those in our world, including our competitors. Join us on this journey of innovation and excellence. Your time and investment will undoubtedly be well placed. Hang with us till the end. I know you won't be disappointed.
office.
That's crazy. So I'm generally, I'll tell you, I'm generally very skeptical of pharmaceutical drugs,
Sure.
just because, I don't trust our government. I don't trust a lot of
Exactly. Yeah,
pharmaceutical companies. I feel like a lot of it's for the money, but
it is.
that's why I asked if it's safe. Another thing I wanted to ask you that I didn't want to interrupt. You're talking about testosterone levels in women being low.
Yeah.
So that's something that's not talked about a whole lot.
Uh,
And I think women would probably, when they hear that, just because testosterone is a male hormone, I mean, it's in both, but predominantly like men produce more of that.
right.
So is this something that is going to make women grow like ripped out of their mind, muscly neck, shoulder
Oh,
muscles? No?
no. So actually, testosterone is one of the primary hormones secreted by the ovaries. We're kind of just taught to think that this is a male hormone. It's very much so a hormone that's present in both male and female. Obviously, males have a much higher level, and when we're trying to optimize a man's testosterone, we're trying to get them 900 to 1100. That's usually our goal on the free testosterone or the total testosterone level. For women, we're shooting for 150 to 250. So a much lower level, obviously, but
Sure.
most of the women that I'm seeing are less than 20 when they're starting out. I mean, Haley, my nurse practitioner, we were both pelleted. We've both gone through this. A lot of the things that we offer, we do ourselves so that we know, hey, how does this work and how do you feel on it? I don't want to offer something that I've not tried, essentially, but we needed it. We were both really low. We both were pelleted, and it's made a huge difference in the way that I feel. I just feel a lot more settled. I have more energy. I wake up more focused. I feel like my workouts that I try to do regularly are actually, I'm seeing a better result because testosterone wants you to be lean. it allows you to build lean muscle a lot easier. And so in a lot of our patients that stay optimized for month after month after month, and their level as a man is say 1,000, their body starts to naturally change. They start building that lean muscle without even exercise. And then the more muscle you have, the more of a calorie burning machine that you are. And so you start naturally burning more calories, your metabolism speeds up, and your body shape will start to change naturally without even exercise. I think the biggest kind of eye opener for me, we went to Dallas to this big conference that the company put on. And I listened to all of these very smart physicians and endocrinologists, OBGYNs talk about this and how they had been working in the regular, the hospital setting or whatever, and following the protocols that are set forth by, a lot of them are funded by big pharma. They said, my patients still feel bad. We're following the protocol. We're getting their thyroid where it says it needs to be. Their testosterone level is normal. We're doing what we're taught to do, and our patients still feel really bad. When we kind of kick that old way of thought to the curb and introduce this new, and this isn't new. I mean, pellets have been around since the 1920s, but this new way of actually treating our patients and not just their numbers. Your level may be 500, which clinically not going to be considered crazy low, but we know if we can double that, you're going to feel a ton better. And why go through this kind of middle age funk if you don't have to? We're kind of taught to think it's just normal to feel that way because, hey, I'm almost 40. I'll be 40 in not long. I've been taught that it's normal for me to be more tired. It's normal for me to be more irritable, to start gaining weight. We know that
But the reason for that is because your levels are going down.
Right. Our
Correct?
hormones are
and it
balanced.
doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to kind of tell our patients. And with the whole weight loss, the GLP-1 class of medicines, it's almost a disservice to put a patient on that for month after month after month. And yes, they're going to lose weight, but if their testosterone or their hormones are not optimized, we could really do so much better if we're doing both. So if we get your level up and then we're helping you to lose weight with the other medicine, it's just kind of a double win, in that
Right.
aspect.
So for me coming in, I didn't feel like I have a ton of terrible symptoms. I feel like I maintain pretty good energy. My wife started the hormone replacement therapy before I did.
Mm-hmm.
And we noticed that she started feeling considerably better.
Right.
She lost weight, just like you said. She had more energy, and she was saying, what do you think about getting tested and doing this? I'm like, well, babe, I feel okay. I'm
Right.
like, maybe I don't feel like Superman or anything, but I feel okay. Maybe this would be something to look into. And she said, but what if you felt awesome?
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, well, you got my attention. I'm listening, I'm interested. So she starts educating me on all of this stuff. And I went to the doctor's visits with her, and I was getting all of the pamphlets and reading everything, and
Sure.
the bioidentical hormone, so that you're not putting synthetic
Right.
medication into your body, because that's a big deal to me. And I think it probably is for a lot of people. I think if it's not a big deal to people, it should be a big deal to
Right.
people,
Right.
because the synthetic medications can do a lot of damage. They can do more damage than good.
Yeah.
But so I'm really excited, hoping that this does. But I'm going to share my numbers. And you're not doing this because you probably can't, but I can.
Sure.
So I was shocked to see that my testosterone level was 135 whenever you guys did my blood work. 135, and it's supposed to be, what is the average normal range for a man?
I mean, we see it anywhere. We want it to be greater than definitely 400 up to about 1,000 is kind of the range of normalcy. A lot of times in the clinical setting, they won't do much unless it's less than like 250, which you were definitely clinically low. I mean, that's consistent with testosterone levels of a 90-year-old man, I mean, honestly. And I don't know, people ask why are our levels all so low? A lot of it is our exposures, the food that we're eating. I mean, the candles that we're burning, all of these things that are hormone disruptors are definitely.
Candles affect your hormones.
Yeah, the scented candles, the lotions, the shampoos, the food. I mean, everything that we're doing are hormone related, hormone disruptors. And we see this big push in, all natural, organic, all of these things, all of these companies are pushing, but it's a real thing. And when we continue to utilize these products that are disrupting our hormones, and a lot of our men these days aren't physical laborers. They're not going, I mean, we do still have obviously a lot, but the way of life has kind of changed, and a lot of people are sitting behind desks. They're not active. Your testosterone has no reason to be where it needs to be. And so obviously as we age, it continues to decrease, and the importance of keeping it elevated is incredible. I mean, as far as your health and the way that you feel, it makes a huge difference. And funny enough, I mean, we've done a bunch of people in the last 6 weeks or so, and the two highest men that I've had come back were both over 65 years old. And we're like, wow, that's pretty. I mean, our guys in our 30s and 40s, we're seeing much lower levels, which is just strange to me. But like I said, the women too, I mean, we've not found anybody who's naturally higher than 30.
You're not naming names, but the guys in their 60s, what was their numbers? Can you share that?
So we had one, I think 650. They were both in the mid 600s, which is still not optimal, but much
for
higher.
a 65-year-old, you're like, okay, this guy. Did you ask them what their diet looks like?
I mean, we talk about that a little bit, but I know one of them very personally, and I mean, no specific diet, essentially, just kind of a normal guy. He does do a lot of yard work and things like that, but nothing out of the ordinary. It was surprising to see his level come back so high.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So back to getting into starting your own practice. Did you have, were your parents entrepreneurs? What did they do?
No, my mom's a nurse. My dad always, so she's been a nurse for, 35 years. I may have that totally wrong, but a long time. She started in her 20s, and she's a very, very good nurse. My next youngest sister is also a nurse. But no, I mean, we've always been clock in, clock out family. Nobody in my family really had the entrepreneurial spirit. This came primarily from my spouse. So I have always had kind of this, if I'm going to run, I'm going to train for a marathon. Like if I'm going to, for a while I did obstetrics and women's health, and I'm like, I want to deliver the babies. Like, teach me how. If it's something I can learn, let me learn it. I want to be at the top of whatever it is. And so I've always had that spirit about me, but he was the one that kind of pushed me. So he has a business degree. He's kind of dabbled with several things, and we've been together almost 12 years. We've really kind of yin and yanged, and it's been funny because when we first met, I was working night shift as a nurse. He had a pretty successful job at the time, very stressful, hated it. I mean, it was the harder you go, the more money you make. So it was just constant stress, but he was successful. But we, still very much so budgeted. We financed, I remember, a sofa at Furniture Row. And I, snowballed the money to make extra payments on the couch, and we celebrated when we paid off our couch. And I look back at that and I'm like, wow, it's just funny how things progress and things change. But he, I was able to go through school and kind of work part-time, and he supported us. And then when I finished, he was like, I'm out of here. This job is so hard. I hate it. So I started a successful job as a nurse practitioner. And he was like, hey, I quit my job. And I'm like, what? You quit your job? So for a while he worked, in a lesser position, and I kind of supported us. And then he started real estate, which was really a great play for him. He's very much a networker. He just knows everybody, which has really been a very pivotal pillar to kind of the success that we've had, because he just meets people and puts himself in the right situations, I guess. So real estate really worked well for him. He jumped into that and impressed me every single day with his ability to just retain the knowledge and just act like it was something he'd always done. And so when he did that, it enabled me to kind of step back, stay home with the baby for a little bit. And we've just really yin and yanged. And so now I'm like, hey, I got to get out of this house. We got to do something. And so we're actually building right now our dream home. You know, it's been a long time coming, and he's able to kind of step back and contract our house and take a little bit of a break from work while I'm successful with this. And so I think that more than anything has been the pillar to his support and us just kind of pushing each other. I'm not a very big risk taker. I'm a dreamer. I want to run the marathon. I'm going to sign up, but I may cancel 2 weeks before. It's like he's the one that's really enabled me to push through and say, no, you're going to run the marathon. Like, you can do this. You've trained for it. You can do it. And so I think that more than anything is the biggest pillar to kind of where we've been able to go. And he's definitely, his dad was an entrepreneur, owned a real estate business for a while. But he's kind of the first one in his family to be the risk taker as far as some of the investments that we've made. A lot of it boils down to networking and putting yourself in those situations. And so he always says he went to college, he has his degree, but his college degree and his education really is not anything related to how he's had a career or how he's been successful. It's the people that he met in college. So he talks about meeting this guy who he owned a marina as a college student. Now, his parents were very successful business people and had kind of set him up on the right path. And he says, I remember meeting him and we got to talking. He's like, yeah, I own a marina. I run it in the summer. My dad owns a business. He could tell that this guy was successful. And he said, I just kind of put myself with him. I was like, you know what? I'm sticking with him. They've become very good friends. We're still friends to this day. And that guy has been a pivotal role player in allowing us to see opportunity with owning business, with taking risks. We were early in our marriage, still budgeting for the sofa, and took this big financial risk on kind of this investment opportunity. And I remember, crying and thinking, oh my gosh, like, this is so scary. We can't do this. And it worked out, and it comes back to, you're never going to get anywhere further unless you take that step. And sometimes it may be the wrong step. You may crumble and fall and, oh crap, we've messed up. But when it works, it's so worth it. And I kind of have had to just let go of that scaredy cat mentality and just say, okay, like, I trust you and we're going to do what you think is right. And if it doesn't work, then oh well. If it does, we're going to be a lot better off for the times that it does work, and throughout our marriage, more often than not, it has, and like I said, I remember being excited when the phone would ring and thinking, oh my, like, what am I going to do? I bought this laser, and what if we don't have any patients? Buy the laser. That's my advice. Just buy the laser. The patients will come. Figure out how to get the patients. But it's kind of if you don't do it, you're never going to get the patients. If you don't open it, if I didn't, make the steps and take the risks, we would have it, and so it would just kind of, when it's working out, and it may still flop, who knows, but it's been really exciting to watch it grow and to have patients that have been with me from the start. And they're like, every time they come in, they're like, wow, you've really changed. And, oh my gosh, you have more employees. And we're currently looking for more space, or we've got to pivot at some point. We have too many patients for the space that we're in, and we need more help. So it's just really cool to watch it grow and to see it actually come into, the fruition of it turning into something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you could have received some advice when you were 18 years old to prepare you for the rest of your life to today, you don't know what's coming tomorrow, but to prepare you for everything to get you where you are, what advice do you wish you could have had when you were 18 years old?
It's pretty easy for me to answer that question because I try to give that advice. Like I said, I have 3 younger sisters. All the girls that work for me are much younger than me. And I feel like I'm always trying to kind of like herd them. I'm like, the biggest advice, one, find your support system. Don't settle for the guy or the girl that's causing stress in your life. It needs to be easy. If it's not easy, if they're not pushing you, I was with in a previous relationship, and I remember, him being upset that I wanted to go to the gym. It was a jealousy thing, I guess. I don't know, but he was mad if I wanted to go to the gym. My husband now, I say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. He's like, get it, girl. I'm proud of you. And that's the kind of support person you need. Not that you have to have a spouse to be successful, but coming home to somebody like that, that's going to say, hey, you killed it today. I'm so proud of you, enables you to really see that, the opportunity. So don't settle for somebody that's not like that. Don't spend your life with somebody that's going to keep a strap on you and keep you, down at a lower level. You want the person that's going to lift you up and push you to exceed and reach new levels. And then go for the ultimate. I have these young, smart girls that are like, and not to discount anything, but they'll say, I want to be, just for example, a dental assistant, maybe. Let's say I want to go to dental school. Shoot for the top. You know what I mean? You're going to get yourself in a career path where eventually these dental assistants probably know, I mean, they watch, they see, they're able to do those functions, but you're in a position where you're making so much less, and not to discount that, that's a great career path, but shoot your goals for the top, because if you fall short, you're still going to land higher than what you would have, is kind of, and I've been able to kind of step up on these hoops through my life. But had I just said from the start, hey, this is what I'm going to do, I could have gotten there a lot quicker. I think that we limit ourselves a lot of times, and we get nervous and we're scared, but you just got to push for what you ultimately want. Surround yourself with the right people. I can see kind of a shift in our friend group recently. I mean, all of our friends are kind of business owners and successful people. And when we get together to whatever we're doing, fry crappie or eat out, we're talking about, hey, what's your next thing? What do you got going? And surrounding ourselves with people like that are like-minded and want to be successful, because it just allows you to stay in that group, where you're always thinking about the next step.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've noticed the same thing. I try to put myself in a position where I'm around people that are pushing me to expand the way that I think
Right.
and giving me ideas. And I'm very open to ideas. I'm always listening. I have gotten pretty good at what I'm doing. I'm also in real estate, and your husband sounds like somebody I definitely want to meet and network with myself. But um, I'm always looking for ideas of what can I do that's different? What can I do that's better? What can I do that makes me stand out and provide that level of service that people that I don't have to be pushing so hard to get clients to come to me. They're coming to me because of what we're doing. That's what I'm looking for. How do I make myself that much better? And it sounds like you're doing the same thing,
Yeah, that's
and
so cool.
that's fantastic.
I think, we went these conferences that we go to, it's putting yourself out on a limb. And I've gone to several by myself, which I don't really love to travel by myself. I've always said, I mean, I would starve to death if I was alone, because I just would never go eat by myself, or I just don't like to do that stuff. But my husband was like, go. And his best advice, he said, every day, sit at a different table, after lunch, move to a different table. And I would have never thought that. You kind of make your little friend group at the conference and that's who you stick with. He said, no, switch it up, move tables, meet more people. And that's been crucial, because some of these people that I've met, I mean, I'm like, hey, what are you doing for this? Or what, we communicate and we kind of push ideas off of each other because they're business owners in other states. And it's been crucial to my development because I've met people that are doing what I'm doing, and we can kind of, relay ideas with each other. And
Well, and when
it's
you see that they're doing something that you're not, that's working, you're in
right,
different markets even. You can
right.
completely replicate what they're doing and it's not affecting them in an adverse way. You have referral directions, and I don't know how much that works in the aesthetics business or that as far as that goes, but I made a great friend at a conference in Florida, a sales conference. The guy's an agent in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and he's a beast. The dude's like doing all the things that I want to do. And I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm going to steal this exact idea. I'm going to do exactly what you're doing. He said, please do. It's working. This is
Right.
working. So I'm going to do it too.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's putting yourself out there and just taking time to meet those people, because had I not gone, I mean, you don't meet any of those people. You don't have any of those resources. And these are the people that I can kind of, hey, we've got this issue. And they're like, oh, I've dealt with that. And I've become that for other people. I have so many people reach out to me now and they're like, hey, can we do this? And it's just about putting yourself in that situation where you're always, looking at the next step. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Amanda, do you have a final thought for my listeners?
Well, I'm excited to be, on your show today and just talk about what we're doing. I think that it's really neat, and talking about not only professional, but also emotional and relationship advice. Not that I'm, the know-it-all of any of this, but it's been fun chatting with you, and I'd be excited to talk in the future, and excited, hopefully people hear from what I've said and are able to kind of get motivated and look up to what's next for them.
Yeah, how can people find you? I'm going to put your links in the description so people can, but if you want to just share in the video, what's a
Yeah.
good way for people to find you, your website?
Yeah. So our website's just www.thecraftedclinic.com, just spelled normal with C's. We're on Instagram, social media, Facebook, just at The Crafted Clinic. Our phones ring all the time. A text message, you're welcome to call or text. It's 221-5700 is the phone number, but we'd be happy. We offer all kinds of services, and basically if you need it and we can do it, we'll bring it on. So we're excited to keep expanding and growing to what our patients need.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you. You have a fantastic and lovely day.
Thanks so much.
Awesome.